Greetings, drinking buddies. So today we're going to be doing a blind flight of 4 different single barrel products from Buffalo Trace to see which one I prefer.
I'm your drinking buddy.
So we have 2 from the mash bill number 1 line here. It's going to be Buffalo Trace. This is a single barrel select. Regular Buffalo Trace that you buy at the store is not a single barrel product, but this one is. But it's a dry heat, Arizona 2021. And then we have an E.H. Taylor single barrel, and this is going to be the highest proof. This is going to be sitting at 100 proof because it's bottled in bond. And the mash bill on these guys is about 10% or less rye, so very low rye profile on these 2 guys. And the Buffalo Trace is 90 proof. And then over here we have a couple of the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 2 single barrels. These are going to always be single barrel products. You got Blantons, which is pretty popular and pretty sought after. It sits at 93 proof, so the second highest of our proof. And then our lowest proof here is going to be the Hancock Reserve. It's 88.9. These guys are going to be sitting right around 13 to 15% rye, and that's considered Buffalo Trace's higher rye mash bill, but it's still what I would consider to be fairly low on the rye. But that's right around that turkey mark. That's right around that Jim Beam mark. So, all right. So I say we get right to it and see if we can pick out what any of these are. Start on the end here. This is number 1. It smells really good. Smells citrusy, little rye spice coming through actually. Oh wow, it's really sweet like honey. Oh, this might be really tough because that is excellent. And I don't have a guess just yet. However, I'm going to lean that it might be the E.H. Taylor because I like it so much. It's really good. I have a feeling the E.H. Taylor is going to be my favorite because I love the standard small batch E.H. Taylor. So second, this one also smells really sweet. This one's a little more floral though, a little more grain, but no barn smell. I have sometimes the cheaper bourbons have a grain smell that just reminds me of like opening a barn and you're just hit with the smell of like grain, and yeah, it's not a great smell. Yeah, this smells amazing. Oh, okay. That's actually a little bit sweeter than the first one on the flavor. Sweeter nose and sweeter flavor. Oh yeah, that's got a lot of brown sugar and vanilla going on. Your classic bourbon flavors. This might be really hard, guys. I might lose my whiskey card today. You guys might take away my whiskey channel from me because I might get none of these right. But I think that's actually, I'm recognizing the flavor a little bit. I believe that's the Hancock. So far, I think this is the E.H. Taylor and this is the Hancock. And I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And so far, number 2 is my favorite. So if that is in fact the E.H. Taylor, I still like the Hancock a little more. Let's jump into number 3. This one's got a lot of grain on the nose, corn, and wood, oak. Oh man. And I thought the first 2 were sweet. This one's way sweeter. Okay, so really sweet. This one's got a lot of baking spices going on, especially cinnamon. Yeah, there's a little bit of a fruit thing going on here, which I didn't pick up on the other 2, but this has got a little bit of an apple thing going on. Maybe might even be there's a little cherry on this guy, subtle. Just a fruity thing that could, you might call it cherry, you might not, but it's a little bit of fruity thing. Let's go, I think that's Blanton's, I think. Number 4. So the nose is a little dusty. I actually think the oldest bottle up here, as far as age goes, might be the Buffalo Trace. And this has got a little bit of dusty, musky wood thing going on. These guys are relatively young bottles. We don't know how long the E.H. Taylor is. It's bottled in bond, so it's at least 3 years, but we don't know more than that. But we do know that Buffalo Trace is at least 7 years, so it might be the oldest product up here. This Blanton's is no age statement on here, but I think they're about 6. Oh yeah, so that's vanilla, that's brown sugar, there's a little bit of caramel on there. It's just, if you looked up classic bourbon flavors in the dictionary, you would find this particular bottle. And the only one I'm sure of is that this is the Buffalo Trace. As you can see, I've had a little bit of this single barrel, and I know the flavor. That is gonna be the Buffalo Trace for sure. So far, I believe we have E.H. Taylor, Hancock Reserve Blantons, and Buffalo Trace. I am very terrified I have them all wrong, but I'm also very confident in that last one. I'm gonna give them another taste through. We'll see if I change my mind at all. All right, so I have put them in the order that I like, from favorite to least favorite, explaining that number 4 is my least favorite of these 4, but it's still a really, really good bottle. This is an excellent flight. So I'm not crapping on number 4 at all. It's really good. Let's go through them. Number 1, I believe this to be the E.H. Taylor. Let's go ahead and flip it over and see what it ended up being. Hancock. Wow, okay, so the one that I felt like had the highest proof was the lowest proof. I mean, they are pretty similar in proof. It's only about, let's see, 11.1% difference between this one and this one. And this is the highest and this is the lowest, but man, normally I'm better at guessing proof than that. Normally I can always tell you which one's the highest proof at least. So Hancock was my favorite. I'm very surprised by that. All right, so, well, that was my E.H. Taylor guess, so this one's probably gonna be the E.H. Taylor because this was my Hancock guess. But I did guess this to be the Hancock, and this was the sweetest bottle of the 4. So the sweetest one ended up being the E.H. Taylor. Okay, so my second favorite was the E.H. Taylor. So I think that means I got the last 2 right. So yes, I'm 0 for 2 so far, but I believe I can make it up and get at least 2 for 2, or 2 for 4. So number 3 was Blanton's, yes. Okay, so I really thought this one was Blanton's because I generally do pick up a little bit of the rye spice on Blanton's that I don't necessarily pick up on most Buffalo Trace products. And this is the one, when I was tasting it, I said, hey, this has got some baking spice going on. And so that's why I said this was Blanton's. Even though it's the same mash bill as this, it does have a little bit more of that baking spice flavor than the first 2 did. It actually tastes like it could be a real high rye, where we're talking, 18, 20, 25% rye. Blanton's for me has a really high rye, a great high rye quality to it. And that means number 4 I definitely got right too. That was the Buffalo Trace single barrel. And yeah, this is a really good bottle. This was the cheapest of the 4. This was one that was selected by, this was a store pick from, believe it or not, Walmart. How does a store pick work? In case some of you are new to bourbon. Walmart met with the Buffalo Trace people, and they selected a barrel, whether that had been samples brought to the Walmart office, or maybe sometimes those people went up to Kentucky and tried some barrels and selected one that they really liked, or selected many that they really liked. And then they put that juice in a bottle and sent it out to their Walmarts. And this one was specifically selected to be for Arizona. It is the It's a Dry Heat Arizona 2021 Single Barrel Select, and it's a good bottle. It was the cheapest one. But none of these I paid too much for. I paid retail for all of these. You know, Blantons can get up over $200 on the secondary market, can get up over $200 at some small liquor stores. You know, I paid $60. You know, the E.H. Taylor single barrel can get up to $200, $300, and you know, the secondary or at small liquor stores, I paid $60. This was $30 and this was $40. And my favorite was the Hancock out of the four. You know, this is why I love blind tasting, because if you had asked me which one would be my favorite, going into this, I would have said it would be the E.H. Taylor or the Blantons, and they came out 2 and 3. So don't let your preconceived notions determine what whiskeys you like. Let your taste decide. And a great way to do that is to do them blind. How do I do blinds by myself? Well, I go ahead and write the names on on some papers. I flip the papers over, I put my Glencairns on them, and I move them around. Or if my wife is home, I just have her pour for me and she writes it down, and then I know what the list is when we're done. But either way, I've done a blind taste to see what I like, what I don't like, what's great, what's just okay. And today we learned all 4 of these bottles are excellent, and the best one of them for me was the Hancock Reserve. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you, and we'll see you on the next one.